You wake up, you get ready, you go to a place that isn't yours, to do work that isn't yours, to build something you will never own. And you call this a job. But strip away the language for a second. Forget employee, forget salary, forget career. Look at the raw structure underneath it. A company is a business. A business exists to turn inputs into profit. And you, sitting at that desk, on that job site, behind that counter, you are an input, not a person with a job, a resource being used by someone else's business. This isn't an insult, it's just the architecture. Every company you've ever worked for runs on the same model. They buy your time at one price. They sell what you produce with that time at a higher price. The gap between those two numbers is the entire reason the business exists. That gap has a name. It's called profit. And it doesn't belong to you. It was never going to. Think about what actually happens in a typical workday. You solve a problem, close a deal, fix a system, serve a customer. Value gets created. Real, measurable value. And almost all of it flows upward to the business, to the owner, to the shareholders, while you receive a fixed, pre-negotiated slice that was decided before you even walked in the door. You are paid for your time. The business is paid for your output. Those are two very different numbers. And the distance between them is where every employer's wealth is built. Here's the part most people never sit with. If your job is really just you running a business, except the business sells your hours to someone else, then you are already an entrepreneur. You already have a business. You just don't own it. You have one customer, one single customer who buys 100% of your output, who can change your price whenever they want, who can stop ordering from you with 2 weeks' notice, and who you are not legally allowed to sell to anyone else at the same time. If you ran an actual company like that, every advisor on earth would tell you the same thing. You are dangerously overexposed to a single customer. And that's exactly the position most working people are in every single day, without ever framing it that way. So why does it stay invisible? Because the job comes wrapped in comfort. A title, a badge, a regular paycheck landing on the same day each month. The rhythm feels like stability. And stability feels like safety. But stability inside someone else's business was never your safety. It was theirs. You were simply a well-managed cost on their balance sheet, kept just satisfied enough to keep producing. This is where the real shift starts. Not quitting your job, not blowing up your life, just seeing it correctly for the first time. If you already are running a business, the business of selling your labor, then everything you've been taught to think of as a personal trait suddenly becomes a business decision. Your skills are your product line. If you only have one skill, you have one product. One product businesses are fragile businesses. Your employer is your only client. One client businesses are the riskiest businesses in the world. Your salary is your revenue. And revenue that never grows while costs around you quietly rise is a business in slow decline, even if it doesn't feel that way yet. Your savings are your retained earnings, the percentage of profit you choose to keep instead of spending it all back into your own daily operating costs. Once you see the job this way, the questions change. A real business owner doesn't ask, how do I survive on this revenue? They ask, how do I diversify my revenue? How do I increase my margins? How do I reduce my dependency on any single customer? Most working people never ask those questions about their own income because they were never told their income was a business in the first place. This is the quiet trick of employment. It teaches you to think like a worker when the actual game being played around you is entirely a business game. Your employer is not thinking like a workplace. They are thinking like a business every hour, every quarter, every decision. Meanwhile, you were handed a job title and told that thinking like a business wasn't your department. It was always your department. It was just never explained to you. So what does it actually look like to run your job like the business it already is? It means treating every new skill as a new product line, something that makes your one customer less able to replace you and makes other potential customers want to bid for you. It means treating your resume, your portfolio, your reputation as marketing assets built deliberately, not accidentally. It means understanding that a raise isn't a reward for loyalty. It's a renegotiated contract price, and like any contract, it should be reviewed on a schedule, not left to hope. It means putting a portion of every paycheck, your retained earnings, into assets that work independently of your one customer. Because the day that customer decides to stop buying, your personal business needs a second revenue stream already running. None of this requires quitting anything. It requires seeing the job for what it has always been. Not a place you belong to. A contract you negotiated whether you realized you were negotiating or not. The system was never hiding this from you. It just never needed you to notice. A workforce that sees itself as a collection of micro businesses starts asking for better terms. A workforce that sees itself as just employees accepts whatever terms are given. You are not just an employee. You never were. You are a one-person business, currently selling 100% of your output to a single buyer at a price they set on terms they wrote. The only real decision left is whether you keep running that business by accident or whether you finally start running it on purpose.